home pages, product pages, checkout pages. Oh my! Yeah, that's right. I'm done looking at your skanky, ugly, no riz having websites that ain't converting anybody because they look like they're a scam from 1999. So in this video, I want to make it the encyclopedia, the Bible, to give you inspiration for when you're building your homepage and product page templates. Because the reality is, depending on what you sell, if you're selling jewelry, if you're selling a health product, every single website is going to have different layouts depending on the amount of information and depending on the niche. So I just want to give you all the different things that you can do on your website, and then you can figure out what makes the most sense for your specific product. So when it comes to making a well-optimized homepage, you usually want to start off with a headline banner. So something along the lines of 40% off Christmas sale, or some USPs, some selling points about your brand specifically. So maybe over 20,000 trees planted, something like that. But as you can see right here with NoMisc, they do free shipping, trusted by thousands, easy returns. And then after that, typically want to have your logo smack dab right in the middle, good size. It ain't too big, it ain't too small. That's what she said. And then when we get into the banner, we can see you usually want to make sure it has a good quality pic of someone using your product or wearing it. And then you want to have another USP, which is just a unique selling point. You don't want to just say shop now or any of that. You have to give people a reason to click that button. So with them, they say instantly relieve period cramps, and then you're going to shop now so that you can get that benefit. And you got to remember, the goal of your homepage is to get people onto your product page, onto the next step of the funnel. So after your banner, which goes to your product page, you want to actually give direct links to your best-selling products or your collections or your featured hero product. And then typically what people will do is they'll talk about their team, they'll talk about their mission, and how we're saving the world, and how we're all like Sam Bankman-Fried, and we're not here for the money. We're just here to change the world. We're going to donate all the money. I mean, let's be honest. What's the point of a business? It's not for profit or anything like that. But then after that, again, you can see right here. So they got good social proof. And then a lot of people will like to do the selling points of their main hero products. So yeah, as you can see right here, yeah, ditch the pills. So here's some selling points. And they kind of treat the homepage like a product page. I do like when brands do that. And then we get into stuff like the footer, signing up for your email, blah, 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 blah. But let's really break this down. So we already talked about the headline bar and the banner, but let's actually talk about this section right here, your menu. Now, a lot of people will stuff their menu with way too many things, a lot of links that you could just put in your footer. And I like to keep it really, really simple. So let's actually see with NoMisc what they do here. They have home. I would not have home. I mean, people know they can just click the logo to go back home. Shop, I agree with. Our story, yes, that is totally fine. Then I usually like to have other things like track your order, contact us, something along those lines. So with this brand right here, they do shop now 70% off. I mean, they're really emphasizing it with that misspelling, but I do kind of like that. I actually like to do more of shop and then the name of the product. So I did shop my slim waist or shop whatever the name of my product is. And then sometimes I'll do it without the word shop, where the link will just be the name of my product. And then yes, I like to have typically the track your order. Sometimes I'll have contact us, but the simpler, the better. Now, keep in mind, when you're building any page, there isn't going to be necessarily the perfect template or the perfect order for how you should do things. But after the banner, a lot of people tend to do either their best sellers, as I mentioned, the best sellers, your hero product, your main collections might be shirts, pants, blah, 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 blah. But I do sometimes see people do a featured in after their banner. So featured in Vogue, Glamour. So they'll put some social proof immediately after the banner, and then they get into introducing their product. So just to show you an example, as we can see on Aluna Skincare, they do their banner. And do we have a good benefit? Natural skincare and skincare tools for clear skin. Yep. And then they got their shop button. So this looks pretty nice. I would say I typically like to have something where it is just one picture instead of a collage. But again, that's something to split test. But you can see as seen in Bondi Beauty. Now, this is obviously just one, and typically people like to do a collage where it's like a row of 4 different publications, magazines, stuff like that, and that just really does, you know, add some social proof. And then they get into their best sellers. So this is typically how a lot of brands like to do it. But then you have other brands like the Ridge wallet, which sells 1 million of these a year. They're $100 wallets, and they're like the size of a toothpick. Man, I'm in the wrong business. But you can see right here, your wallet's smarter. Okay, we got our main value proposition, shop now, and then they're getting to, yes, best sellers, new products, collections, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when they start to do, all right, GQ, men's health. So again, there's so many different ways you can do this, but I really like the way they do this with having the quote instead of just the logo, because I think it really does make you feel like, holy crap, yeah, they they have been featured in here. So then typically after the best sellers, that's when people get into the USPs about buying their product or buying from their brand in general if you're selling a lot of different products and they all have the same type of themes. So as you can see with this brand, all their products are 100% natural, Australian made, vegan friendly. So that is the benefits of shopping with them. It would have made sense for them to have like a headline of like why shop from Illuna Skincare. I think that makes a little bit more sense. And then obviously with No Misc, as you can see right here, they get into the USPs of, yeah, having a masseuse just for your cramps and then other USPs. So I would have kept this to maybe 2 sections max instead of 5. I think that's a little bit too many for me because you want to keep your homepage pretty short and concise. So for instance, this shaver brand does your benefits. Yeah, no more skin irritation and shaving pimples. So again, this is the benefits of them buying the product. It's a nice graphic, super easy. The sentences are short, simple, to the point. And then yeah, they get into social proof, their team. Our team looks like this is a good ragtag group that's ready to scale to the max. But let's get into some other ones. So as you can see right here with We Are Bezo. So again, this is the benefits of buying from them. So keep it short, simple, and graphics. This formula right here of having this section where you have basically 4 rows in one section and then you put in your image, you put in your main benefit, that is a really good way of doing it after your best sellers. And when we scroll down, that's when they get into their best sellers, and this is where their main USP. So I think this is more concise and it just takes up a lot less space compared to the No Misc one where you have like 4 or 5 different sections when you could have just kept it in one, you know, talk about 2 to 3 sentences, your main USPs, good headline, and then boom, call to action to the product page. But yeah, typically after your USPs about your product or buying from your brand, that's when people do get into either their team or why they're doing this, the mission, blah, 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 blah. So with Bazoo, their whole thing is, yeah, we donate 10% of our profits. And then as mentioned, Wildaho does their whole My Team right here. And the reality is you don't need to have all these sections or really execute at that level because when you look at some of the best dropshipping brands on their homepages, they're pretty crap. I mean, let's just look at Juice LEDs, for instance. I mean, they have 3 different banners. Again, I know on Shopify because it gives you like the 2 to 3 little icons and it says, you know, select an image for each one. That doesn't mean you need to have 3 banners. You should mainly just have one main banner. You have your main selling point, your main headline. So turn your room into your own personal galaxy. I think that's actually really good. So Juice LEDs nailed it there. And then they have the shop now, which is perfectly fine. But having these other 2, I just don't see the purpose. And then scrolling down, all right, we got the featured product. I would have liked to have seen the, yeah, featured in the Vogue, just to have a little bit more social proof. But it does make sense to have some sort of link to, yes, the product page. And then that's when they get into the USPs. So honestly, they're pretty close here. The money back guarantee, again, this stuff is so generic. It's so vanilla. I wouldn't even have it. I would have something that's a little more detailed than that. And then they got another USP here. Then they got the review app. And yes, you definitely want to have social proof on the homepage, whether that's, you know, importing your review app or mentioning specific people that have reviewed your product and had a great time, or you might do your Instagram feed. But let's get into that. So after you talk about your team, your mission, whatever, and again, that's completely optional. You really don't need to have that. You typically do want to have social proof mentioned. So whether it's like over 10,000 customers, trusted by over 10,000 happy customers, something along the lines that gives you some social proof. So again, with Juice LEDs, what did they do? They showed the review app. With this brand right here, Warm Winters, if I scroll on down, also do the review apps. If we go into movement watches, oof, oh my goodness gracious, look at that. That is really good. I like the look of that featured in. If we scroll on down, do they have any social proof? Surprisingly, no, they don't. And then if we go to a brand like Avi, let's see if we can scroll on down here. Do we got any social proof? Yes. So this is what I mean, where you might just highlight some few specific customer reviews. So as you can see, we got 3 main ones here, and that's really all you have to do. If you can do 3 really solid ones, that should do the trick 100%. But then again, if we go to No Misc, they did the trusted by thousands. And I really like this because they mentioned 3 specific customers. I would have liked it just to be an image instead of this GIF because it's a little too much for me.
I don't know, that's just a little too much skin showing for my liking. I like my women to be covered head to toe in a one-piece swimsuit.
And then typically after you did your trusted by thousands, and you can just do a simple graphic that explains this. You can have a headline that's trusted by thousands and then just a picture of someone using your product. After that, I also like to double down on doing more social proof, and that's when I like to personally put my review app. So I'll do the review app, then above it, that's when I do my trusted by a few thousand people. Then finally, after all of that social proof, I'd like to do one more final call to action at the bottom here. So again, clicking back onto my product page. So just to show you a specific instance, like with My Slim Waist, I think I could have improved the homepage a lot. I did not do a great job, but the thing I did like is that at the bottom, I had a second banner where I did check out how. So again, clicking back to the product page. Now, if you thought there was a lot of things you can play around with your homepage, wait till you see product pages, my friend. Frankly, I don't think your butthole's ready. I don't think you are ready to see what you're about to see, because there's so many different ways that you can format, do different sections. And people, this is where the most variation I would say between brands is. Their homepage is pretty much almost always the same. Product pages, I mean, it is just, it's free season out here. It's a jungle. So when we get into the product page, I would say the main thing that all brands have is the heading bar. They will have a heading bar with an offer, some urgency. Again, I like, yes, Christmas sale, and their offer is get a free gel cleanser. So yeah, you can do get a free product. You can do 40% off. You can do use discount code TikTok10 to save 10% off. There's a lot of things you can do there. You can do the free worldwide shipping if you want to be super boring, or what a lot of brands do is free shipping for orders above $50. And I would say the headline bar is the most consistent thing that you will see on most product pages. And then obviously after that, you're going to get into your menu. So you'll have a logo front, down, the middle, down, center. It looks nice. Menu on the left, card on the right. That is pretty consistent among all things. But then obviously this brand, you know, they're playing around with it. But then that's when we get into images. Now, I think images are incredibly underrated. I don't think most people put the effort, especially as dropshippers. You know, you just find your product images, you find your supplier on AliExpress, you import their photos, and then you don't do anything else. You're just like, all right, this is all I have. But the reality is you can find images for your product on a variety of different suppliers, and that should be your main focus, honestly, especially if you're selling clothing or anything, because the images do sell your product. Now, I believe the best way to do your product images is always to have a variety. You shouldn't just have mainly shots of your product with a white background. You shouldn't mainly just have shots of your product in a lifestyle type of setting. You should have a mix. It should be white background. You should have your product in a lifestyle, someone using it in their day-to-day life. Then you should also have maybe more stock footage type images of your product that are more professional and branded. And then you can even throw in a GIF if you want. So if we go to Illuna Skincare, the first thing, and yes, usually the first image, and you want to split test this because it's the most important one, it's the one everyone is going to see. Most people will do the white background image. And then after that, we can see right here, we got some UGC, we got a nice little GIF of someone using the product. We got some lifestyle, it's very natural. Then we got some more stock footage of the product. And again, this is a nice little variety. Then when we go to this dropshipping brand right here, okay, we got more of a UGC, someone holding it. Then this is more stock footagey. I mean, this person clearly, you know, took their own photos, which is really solid. But I would have also liked to have seen the white background image because maybe that's what will sell me a little bit more. You really never know. It's just always good to split test. And then with the Ridge wallet, they go more for the professional feel the entire time. And I'm sure they split tested it, and maybe that's what works best for them because you really don't know. But I personally like to see a bit of variety. And then with Obvi, they do kind of the same thing where they have good graphics. All right, this is what I mean by, you know, the stock footage type thing where you have more professional feel to it. But I think a good mix is always the way to go. Now, when we do cover the images, a big thing to keep in mind is you don't want them to be too big or too small. When someone loads onto your website, and you should check this on mobile, you should see, does the image take up basically the entire screen as soon as they load in and click on the product page link? Because if that's the case, I would recommend making it a little bit smaller. There's definitely a silver lining. I think this size is pretty good here. But my problem here is you see all this empty space. Look at how bad this is. You got this empty space between the banner and then right here to the first image. You got empty space between the 4 out of 4 and this. It's just so much empty space. And this is why I'm a big fan of building your product pages on custom page builders where you can control that. Like for instance, this brand right here, you can see there's literally zero empty space at the top of the banner. They got their headline, they got then the product image. There's nothing wasted. And the reason why you want to keep it short and concise is so that people can easily navigate and then click your add to cart button so that they move on to the next step in the funnel. So it's really important. Minimize the empty space. That is a huge thing. Now with the hoodie, they do have a little bit of space. I honestly don't know why. I personally don't like that, but obviously they've sold a ton. So this seems to be working for them, but I think there's a bit way too much space here. I think you can definitely get this a little bit tighter, more concise, and I really don't see how that would negatively impact conversion rate. Now I'd say the first place where you're going to see some variation is under these product images in terms of you can do thumbnails of images so people can click through and see what they're going to see. Then you can do just dots like with this brand right here. You have to scroll and then you'll see what those images are. But the Ridge wallet absolutely nails it because you could have had the option to put the thumbnail right under the image, and that's obviously what Silk Sonic did. But they found a way to hard code the thumbnails into the product image space so that way it doesn't take up extra space, which is really, really solid. And then that's where you can play around because most custom page builders will allow you to either do thumbnails or dots. Personally, I am a thumbnail guy, but again, you can play around. I wouldn't recommend though having both because yeah, it's a little bit overkill for me. Now, this is where again, I like to personally think the best way to do it after your thumbnail is having your product title, then have the reviews. So as you can see right here, the Silk Sonic actually does completely different. They have reviews up top. I just think that's out of place. I honestly don't like that at all. I like to do, yeah, product title here. And then even on this one, they have reviews down here, which is pretty weird. Obvi has their product title, then they have reviews right under. And this is how most brands tend to do things. So again, product title, then reviews. If we go to Udi, we got product title, then reviews, same exact thing. Now, Ridge actually does play around. They do reviews and product titles. So again, I think it is about execution. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I personally, though, like the look of doing product title, then reviews right under that when you click on them, it goes straight down to the review section. Now, after all these things of having the headline bar, your menu, product images, thumbnail, product title, then reviews, this is where the most variation tends to happen. And this is going to depend on your niche, how you want to execute this. So what you can do, obviously, after you do your product title, then reviews is, yes, put your price right there. And, when we go to the Udi, they do their 4 interest-free payments, then the price, then add to cart. Personally, I see a lot of variation here in terms of what you can do after the product title and reviews is you can do something like having bullet point benefits. So you can see right here on this brand, they have their bullet point benefits of what are the major things that people will care about, that they will consider in making their purchase decision. And they make it super short and easy to read, which I like. And then yes, having a review right here. I think this looks super, super solid. You want to have social proof on all parts of your product page. It shouldn't just be at the bottom. It should be in the middle. It should be at the top. And a lot of brands have split tested this where they're like, if we can get social proof as fast as possible, as quickly as possible to people's eyes, does that improve conversion rate? And for a lot of brands, it does. Now, again, you can also do something like a sub headline after this. So we can see product title, reviews, then we got a little sub headline. So again, 2 sentences about why people want to buy. And again, that's totally fine. You have to play around with these things. This product is a health product. It requires a little bit more of explanation. So I would get into 2 major benefits of your product if you're going to do that angle. Personally, I've never done that. I typically like to do product title, reviews. Then I either mention that specific review, like with the Luna Skincare brand, or I do bullet point benefits and then get into the price. But again, you could split test literally just doing product title, reviews, then price. I mean, that's also fine too. But I would say the final way people will do it is they will sometimes do product title, then reviews, then they'll talk about the colors, sizes, stuff like that. Then they'll show the price and the add to cart button. So again, there's a lot of things you can play around with this section. And in fact, you can also do upsells too. So if you have an upsell app, you could put it right here. I mean, we got the little upsell right here on Obvi. I know it's a lot of different things you can play around with, but it really does depend. And that's where I would recommend when you are building a product page for any brand or product that you're selling, you should look at inspiration. You should look at other brands in your niche so that you can try to take the pieces and see what are the trends you're noticing. Are most people just doing, let's say like the Ridgewall, where they have the color, style, and then they get into the add to cart? Or are they doing more like this Lucky Green Ace, where it's literally just title, price, reviews, add to cart? But then obviously after you do all this, where you have finally your price introduced, that's when you want to have your add to cart button right there. So you typically, most people will do the pay in 4, then add to cart. That's what Udi does as well. Pay in 4, then add to cart. And with the add to cart, that's a really important thing that you want to split test. You want to try out different colors. Like obviously with Obvi, they're pretty much white, black, and then this pink, but they do a green add to cart button. And that's what's worked the best for them. And I can guarantee they have split tested this. You can split test having add to cart be all capitalized versus just the first letter of each word capitalized. You can try an emoji versus not having an emoji. And you can try having a shadow effect or changing it from a square to a pill-shaped add to cart button. So for my slim waist, I did the pill-shaped. I had a bit of a shadow, and that's what's worked the best for me. And with also having the capitalized text. And I also changed this to buy now instead of add to cart. So it really gets the idea that, hey, buy this. That is what you're doing. You are buying, not just adding to cart. I don't want you to just add to cart. I want you to buy. Now, after your add to cart button, again, there's a lot of variation you can play around with. And again, these are all optional. You don't have to do this. You might want to just take one of these ideas. I just want to give you all the ideas so you know what you can do after that makes sense. So the first thing you can do after this is estimated delivery time. So a lot of brands, they'll have like, oh, if you buy today, you'll get this by December 15th, something along those lines. Luna Skincare does free shipping 3 to 5 days. Obvi, estimated delivery December 14th, December 16th. That looks really cool. It's just a simple app that you can install that basically automatically updates every single day based on what you tell it is going to be the estimated deliveries. So that's one way of doing it. And then another thing that Obvi also does is having trust badges. A lot of brands after the add to cart, and I personally love to do this, is have some trust badges under the add to cart of payment badges. So you might have the payment badges of, PayPal friendly, of Visa, MasterCard, all those major credit card companies. Or you might do like what I did with my slim waist and have a countdown timer right under the add to cart button. And this worked really well for me. I split tested having it versus not, and it was a major difference. This website converted at 4.5% for me. And again, there was a lot of split tests going on. So maybe you want to try the countdown timer versus not having one. And then there's other things that I personally like having the shipping times and the 30-day better than rest-free guarantee. Now, these are accordion, so you would click them open and then it would say more text about them. But you could also do those as trust badges as well if you wanted to. You can have like 3 badges that say, fast shipping, and then you can say 30-day money-back guarantee. In fact, I'm pretty sure we saw a few examples already. Yeah, like right here with the Ridge, they do, lifetime guarantee, free shipping and returns. You might say like fast shipping, whatever it is, but this could be another way of doing it instead of all this text. In fact, I think that is better. And then I would say the final thing you can really do under the add to cart is you could have upsells. You could, if you have an app where you can place it exactly where you want, which if you're using a custom page builder is pretty easy to do. You can put your upsells after the add to cart. A lot of people tend to do that. Now, after all those different things you can play with, the next thing is the accordion menu. Now, this again is optional. Most brands do not have this, but some do. And the accordion menu is basically, if we go to Obvi right here, you can see they're doing their upsell, but then you got this accordion. So you click it open to get all of the major benefits. And if you're not interested and you just want to keep on scrolling down, that's when they get into their description. But some brands will just, obviously they'll have their add to cart button, they'll have, their trust badges, then they get straight into the description, and that's perfectly fine. You can split test these things, but I do like the accordion menu. Supplement facts, directions. This brand needs to explain their product a little bit more, which makes sense. The Ridge Wallet also does, the main features, which is just the specifications, we're being honest. Then, a little bit of a description, shipping and warranty. But when you go over here to Illuna Skincare, after the trust badges, then they get into some social proof, and that's when they start to get into the description. So again, you can play around with the winter cashmere leggings. Okay, we can see after add to cart, that's when we're mentioning social proof. So again, the social proof angle has been done sometimes under that. And then they get into, all right, accordion menu, size guide, shipping and returns, FAQ. So if it makes sense for your product, sure, you could try that out, or maybe it makes sense to just go straight into your description. But if you are to do the accordion menu, I would say this is a pretty good guide of, it makes sense to have your size chart in here, some specifications about, the material, what's the size, all that different thing. You can also have stuff like, your shipping, your returns, yes, your FAQ, and that pretty much covers that. But then that's when we're going to get into your description. Now, typically for a description, most brands will keep this to about 2 to 5 sections if you're really pushing it. Now, I know for the My Slim Waist, if I'm really breaking it down, we have here one section for the material. We have one section right here, which is a headline, image, paragraph. Then the second section, image, headline, paragraph. So that's another section, and then another one. So that's about 3 sections. Then my 4th section is a call to action. And then I have my buy now button, but pretty much most people have 2 to 5 sections before they get into the reviews. They pretty much all have reviews at the bottom, every single brand across the board. But in that separation from the first add to cart down to that review app, there's about 2 to 5 sections where that's when you get into the meat and potatoes of why people should buy your product, why it matters, what are the USPs, what happens when you buy your product. So again, for me, I pretty much did 1 section, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then yes, I went into reviews, which is a lot. If I'm being honest, I think this is a little bit too much. So with the Ridge Wallet, they have you may also like, so they're doing upsells. Then okay, we got this cool graphic specifications, scrolling down, carry less, live more. So this is just their description. They like to keep it super simple, graphic, and then boom, we're already in the reviews section. There really wasn't a whole lot there. That's about maybe 4 or 5 sections, but it's not a lot of text to read. It's mainly focusing on graphics and then really tightening your copy to the major benefits. When we go into Obvi, okay, cool, they got their social proof. So we're noticing a lot of people do social proof after that add to cart button initially. Then this is what I really like. They summarize the major benefits in a cool, easy to read graphic. So just one sentence. But if you organize this in a different way, if you executed this worse, you might have done what I did. And instead of just having a graphic, I literally just wrote out each sentence and there's no graphic with it. But they just did essentially that, but they made it smaller. They made it more digestible with their benefits. And I really do like that. And then after they cover their major benefits, all right, then we got some more benefits of buying from the brand. So nice little widget here across the board, a few sections, images. Why are people choosing us? Yep. And then, if we're to count how many sections it is, about 1, 2, 3, 4, I would say 5. Then a 6, really. This is also social proof essentially, but they do 6 before getting to reviews, but it doesn't feel like a whole lot here. With this brand, okay, so we get into size guide, and that makes sense because the major objection for this product, because it's clothing, will be what is the sizes? I need to know. And then obviously they show how it looks on different people, which is really smart. I think that makes a lot of sense as a section. So after add to cart, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get into reviews. And even this description is really not much of a description. It's just, all right, what's my major benefits? Let's make it super easy and digestible. So they just keep it to about 2 words. Obviously, what Avi did is they kept it to one sentence and made it short, but there's so many different ways of executing. But what most people are tending to do now is they don't write out their sentences, they build graphics to showcase their benefits. That's just what people are more into. When we get into Uddy, they have their accordion menu, and then yes, they get into trust badges about why you should buy from us, and then they actually do have a specific why buy from us. I'm not a big fan of this all written out. I just don't think people are going to read that. I do like this graphic, okay, so bigger than our competition, and yeah, they keep the graphics of their benefits pretty simple. All right, instead of writing out sentences about, hey, this is perfect for your summer camping trips, they just make it super simple. And then, all right, we're already into the reviews. Let's look at the Silky Sonic product page. So we got, okay, nice little GIF, headline, then a paragraph, order now, and then this is nice too. I really like how, again, instead of just writing out a bunch of boring sentences, they get into a graphic illustrating each one of these points. So deeper cleanse, then they got the little image of that. Skin brightening, anti-aging, all right, cool. And scrolling on down, specific people mentioned, and boom. I mean, look at how much is going on here. Now, I'd say they have maybe 1 or 2 sections that probably could be removed because it is a very long product page, if I'm being honest. But let's really break it down. What do most people do in these 2 to 5 sections? Well, I would say why buy from us is pretty common. So again, when we go back to the Uddy, they did the why buy from us compared to our competitors. That is a very great way of illustrating why people should buy. And you can see right here, Avi, why are people choosing us compared to the other competitors? This type of chart has been used for so long, but I really do believe it's incredibly effective. And then yes, before getting to reviews, a lot of people will have more social proof of the 500 5-star reviews or over 10,000 people trust us. So that part from the homepage, yeah, you can put that into your product page too, right above that reviews section. So a lot of people will do that as well. And then yes, a lot of people do the featured in. This is pretty common as well. And then yeah, collage of short benefits. I would say that's the major thing because I've really preached writing pretty detailed descriptions, but I've started to change that and said, okay, how can I figure out what are the major benefits? I'll write out those sentences and then I'll see, okay, can I put 4 of these sentences onto a graphic? And then I'll put these 4 sentences onto another graphic. But it's really now, I would say the future of e-commerce and product pages is just shortening down your sentences into the most digestible version of them and then seeing if you can get a graphic and an illustration, a symbol for each one of those major benefits that they're getting. And then I would say the final thing I see a lot is how to use the product. So when we go back to the Silky Sonic, yes, a lot of people do the how to use, and this is pretty short, concise. I would say it's actually pretty well executed. Obviously, you just could have one graphic that explains the 3 different steps. It might just be like a collage where step 1's in the top left corner, step 2's in the top right, and that way you can just reduce the amount of space it takes because this does take a little bit of space. Like you have to scroll down quite a bit just to get to the reviews in that. Over 800 satisfied customers, real results. I would just keep the real results, get rid of this, get right into reviews. But let's get into that reviews section. So obviously this is incredibly important. And I would say the main focus is try to import as many reviews as possible. 44, it's a decent amount. You can easily import 100 plus reviews using LAI reviews, Lukes, just mass import them. And then when you are looking at the review section, most people will read the first page of reviews, which is typically like 5 to 10. So you should edit those first 5 to 10 and make sure they're covering the major benefits, which is fast shipping, that the product works, and it delivers the benefits and the claims you make in your description, because people are naturally going to be, a little skeptical of what you say, of your benefits, of saying that, oh, it'll transform my skin, that it will do all this. So you should have reviews that do say, yes, it actually does give you that benefit. And then finally, after you have some great reviews that are detailed and have photos, I would say this is a big thing. They do not have photos in here, but they have photos all right here. So it's like, why is that the case? So again, you want to have great photo reviews. If we go down to the Avi, yep, all of these are photos. And I think that is pretty basic to do. These right here, I mean, all of these are photo reviews. You can see how detailed they are. And I would say make sure that in your review app and you're looking on your phone, that the pictures, even if someone doesn't click on them to zoom in, are very visible, because a lot of review apps actually make the images look super duper small. So I would say the Avi one's pretty small in my eyes. Let's see with the Uddy. Yeah, these images are nice and big, super easy to see. So yeah, I think those are really good. And then the final thing you can really do after your reviews is typically that's when you do you may also like these products. So that's when you can do some more upsells or links to other products that they might be interested in, or you might do an FAQ about your product. So that's what I personally did with the Slim Waist. So after reviews, I did the frequently asked questions. Do you offer returns and refunds? Blah, 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 blah. And these could be actually frequently asked questions based on your product that people might have. Like, hey, what's the sizing like? Does this product work with X? Does it work in this type of car? If it's an LED light for cars, there could be so many specific questions about your product, and it's really good to have an FAQ section because then you can handle objections. And that's the whole point of your product page, to build trust and handle any objections someone might have as to buying your product. And then finally, you'll have your footer, and then you are good to go on your product page. So again, a lot of things you can do on both of those pages, but you want to play around and try to get the gist of really building trust by having a ton of social proof, having great images, and then having a great description where you try to condense your benefits and really make graphics explaining why people should buy from you. Graphics are the way to do this. But the next step of your funnel and the final part of this video is what happens after someone's convinced and they click on that add to cart. Well, this next step, I would say what a lot of people do is, yes, Obvi, I think they've nailed this. This is a perfect add to cart page, and you can split test. Am I going to send people to the add to cart page, or should I send them directly to checkout? You should split test that when you have a winning product. Personally, for a lot of my brands, I do go straight to checkout. You know, as soon as you click buy now, it goes straight to that checkout page. On this one, I split tested it and the cart page ended up working a little bit better. But with a lot of apps, you can just have it go straight to the checkout, or you can also have dynamic checkout. So a buy with Google Pay, buy with Apple Pay directly on your product page so that people can buy with the least amount of steps. But I would say if you are going to send people to the add to cart page, make sure it is well optimized with upsells. So again, Obvi has, you know, their free shipping bar. That's what a lot of brands do, and it looks super professional. Then they have another add to cart right in here, enhance your results. Check out with a little lock, and I'm sure they split tested again this color because most people do not change the color of this checkout. They have, I think the generic Shopify one is this one right here, and I just don't think this looks super appealing. I should have made it the pink that matches my add to cart button, and there's no upsells. It's not really properly optimized. I don't think this looks great, but you're probably wondering, yeah, this looks great, but how the hell do I actually do that? Well, there's an app called In-Cart Upsell where you can do exactly this. Actually, my bad, it's called Upcart, but as you can see right here in the images, you can do the you're $55 away from free shipping. You can do the upselling another product. You can upsell shipping protection right above the checkout. And this is the most optimized cart page. It basically doesn't use your themes cart page. It imports the one from the app. So this is a fully customizable one. And I think it's definitely worth the extra effort because you can get people and make more money and get that AOV increase so that you can spend more money to acquire customers and just be more profitable in general if you do customize your cart page effectively. And then obviously the final thing is your checkout page. So with your checkout page, make sure you have a big bold logo right here, your main logo. And what you can do if you want to split test, you can have your logo and have it be left center, because when you build the logo for your checkout page, typically you want to build it in a hot dog format, meaning you want to have a image that's about like 800 width to 200 height. But when you do that, you can make your logo on the left side of the width, and then on the right side, the right 50%, you can have trust badges like, hey, over 10,000 happy customers, or free shipping and returns, blah, 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 blah. Or you can have payment badges. You can just add a layer of trust, because you can't edit your checkout and add those trust badges, but you could put that in the image where your logo is. So as you can see right here on this website, this is the actual app Upcart on the website. It looks super good. We got the upsell, your discounted cart is reserved. So again, adding some urgency. That's another thing I forgot to mention in your cart page so that people take action now. So this is really well optimized. I love that app so much. So let's actually get into the checkout page here. Now, Obvi, because it's a big brand, they do have the Shopify Plus plan where you can edit the checkout, because you can see here, they got upsells. They got a lot of cool things going on here. They do have trust badges, but for most of you, what your product page is most likely going to look like is this, where you're only going to have the logo. But when we come into this area right here, you want to limit the amount of information that you're collecting. So it should be optional to put in your first name. It should have address auto completion. If I type a bunch of things, it should give me an address. And as you can see right here, we got the suggestions. So we put that all in, good to go. And then yes, you should have continue to shipping. And obviously you can customize this. So maybe instead of continue to shipping, let's see what other people do. They do have continue to shipping, but it's green and then it's capital. Let's see what Obvi does here. Yeah, so pretty simple. But you can see they have a we are reserving your cart. So urgency, urgency, urgency. But unfortunately, you can't do this on the normal Shopify plan. So again, that's just something for the future. But the major things with your checkout, make sure you're limiting the information you're collecting, you have a solid logo, and that you have free shipping. Most dropshipping brands, unfortunately, guys, you can't do the order $1,000 worth of NFTs and then we'll give you free shipping. No, that's not going to work. So I would always offer free shipping, and I'll actually show you the options I typically do. And it's always this: free shipping, priority insured shipping, 3-month warranty plus priority insured shipping. I've had this for years. I have never changed it. It has worked incredibly well for me. And this is what I would recommend doing for your checkout page every single time.